There's a lot of theories floating around about what shape the Earth is, and I'm sure most of you have already heard of the flat Earth theory, but there's also the hollow Earth theory, which is less famous. The hollow Earth theory claims that there's an entire separate world beneath our own, and in this world there's Nazis and Vikings and Hebrews and giants and all sorts of stuff. Statistically speaking, some of them have to be true, but that being said, I'm going to try to stay away from more political conspiracies and also ones that could potentially get me whacked. So as I said, we're going to start off with the hollow earth theory. Now, again, you guys have probably heard of flat earth, never compared to the hollow earth chads. And before we jump into it, I want to say this isn't going to be like a super in-depth analysis on the topic. It's going to be kind of like an introduction, okay? So if you want to look into it more after you watch my video, feel free to do so. But, you know, be careful because you might end up outside of NASA headquarters with a sign saying the Earth is flat, all right? Some very prominent thinkers throughout history believed in this theory, including Edmund Halley, the guy who discovered Halley's Comet, and U.S. President John Quincy Adams, who believed in it so hard that he used U.S. tax dollars to fund an expedition to the corner of the Earth. We'll get into all that later. For now, let's start at the beginning. Many cultures around the world have myths and stories about a subterranean world under the Earth's surface. For example, in ancient Greece, their afterlife, known as the underworld, was said to literally be under the Earth. They also believed that you could reach the underworld through a series of caverns in ancient Greek. Another example, in Dante's Inferno, hell was described as a physical place beneath the Earth. It was described as an inverted cone with the bottom layer being near the Earth's core and the top being at the surface. The Native American Iroquois tribes believed their ancestors emerged from a world beneath the surface. And in Tibetan Buddhism, it's said that under the Earth exists the city of Shambhala, which you might be familiar with if you've ever played Uncharted 2. The modern day hollow earth theory actually began all the way back in 1692 with Edmund Halley, a British astronomer who, as I mentioned earlier, discovered Halley's Comet. Halley was also a mathematician, meteorologist, and physicist. The only thing this guy didn't do was get bitches. Halley discovered that the Earth actually had more than two magnetic fields, and he concluded that the only way this could be possible is if the Earth was actually made of two spheres, a solid one which we lived on, and an internal hollow sphere that was like suspended in air. And he gave Saturn as an example of this being possible. His hollow earth theory followed the same logic. He even went so far as to say there could be life beneath the surface. Honestly, it wasn't widely expected, so it kind of faded away for a while. That is until 1818 when a guy named John Cleve Sims Jr. published a circular ad stating, "I declare the earth is hollow and habitable within, containing a number of solid concentric spheres, one within the other, and it is open at the poles 12 or 16 degrees. I pledge my life in support of this truth, and I am ready to explore the hollow if the world will support and aid me in this undertaking." Sims was obviously influenced by Halley, but he expanded on Halley's theory. According to Sims, the outer crust of the Earth is 1,000 miles thick, and at each pole there are two large gaping holes between 4,000 to 6,000 miles wide, which are now known as sim holes. The curvature of these openings was so gradual that somebody could potentially enter the inner Earth without being aware. Where am I? Now at this point, nobody fully explored the North and South poles, so as far as they knew, he could have been right. He also stated that the spheres inside the Earth would receive sunlight through these openings, and that there was vegetation and life in the inner Earth. Now, keep in mind, Sims was not a trained scientist, but he did read a lot of books. He's basically the 1800s equivalent of these people who do their own research and think they're smarter than doctors and scientists. Sims was so convinced about his theory that he invested a ton of money into spreading the words. He had like 500 pamphlets explaining his theory sent to politicians, scientists, and other influential people around the world. He also went on a public speaking tour to promote the hollow earth theory. His main goal in life was to lead an expedition to the North Pole so he could locate the mythical pole hole. Now, he would actually come very close to accomplishing his goal. After a while of spreading the word and doing speeches, Sims was able to build a following, including possibly the 6th president of the United States, John Quincy Adams. John Q actually allocated funds for Sims' expedition, but was unfortunately voted out of office before it could happen. Probably because he allocated funds for an expedition to get to the center of the Earth. Anyways, his successor, Andrew Jackson, scrapped the project right before he ethnically cleansed thousands of Native Americans. Now, Sims passed away in 1849, but his ideas did not die. While he didn't publish any literature on his ideas himself, some of his followers did, which allowed his work to live on. His concept of openings at the end of the Earth's poles are central to modern day hollow Earth theories. Now, the theories laid out by Halley and Sims were called convex rejects hollow Earth theories, which means that humans lived on the outermost part of the surface of the hollow planet. There are also concave hollow Earth theories. These state that we actually live on the inside of a hollow spherical world, and our universe is inside the interior. Now, Clough says there are 3 main entry points into the hollow Earth. The 2 sim holes at the North and South Pole, and another one somewhere in the Himalayas. Suspended in the center of the planet is an interior sun that's divided into day and night sides. And because of the ideal conditions in the middle of the Earth, trees can grow up to 1,000 feet tall, humans are between 12 and 15 feet tall, and they never get sick. Animals are also massive. Now, you may be asking, where the heck is he getting all this information from? Did he just make it up? Well, apparently a Norwegian sailor by the name of Olaf Jensen stumbled upon the mythical pole hole and entered this land beneath the surface. He lived there with his father for about 2 years and gave a full account of what he saw in the book, A Voyage to the Inner Earth. In addition to Jensen, Hollow Earthers also cite the account of Admiral Richard Byrd, and this guy was a big deal, alright? He won the Medal of Honor, and he was the first pilot to ever fly over both North and South Poles. After he passed away, his son published what he claimed to be his secret diary. In this diary, Byrd alleges to have flown into this mythical land and made contact with the natives. But of course the government covered that up too. Now, this world inside of our world is frequently referred to as Agartha, and apparently both the Buddhist spiritual kingdom of Shambhala as well as the Garden of Eden are located within Agartha. According to Clough, the lost Vikings of Greenland and the lost tribes of Israel also ended up in Agartha. It's also believed that some Nazis also made their way down there. You see, many members of the Nazi party, including Hitler's inner circle, were into the occult. It's said that they were believers in Hollow Earth. The Nazis also led many expeditions to Antarctica, so it's speculated that these expeditions were an attempt to find the mythical South Pole hole. Many Hollow Earth enthusiasts came to the conclusion that many of the Nazis who fled Germany after World War II actually went to Agartha instead of like Argentina or something like that. Man, I wonder how the Nazis got along with the lost tribes of Israel. That must have been awkward. But let's go back to the native Agarthans for a second. I mentioned that they were giant, but they're also apparently very advanced.
The Earth's poles. And if so, did Admiral Byrd actually pass through one of them? According to some ancient astronaut theorists, such gateways do exist.
Using some stories, well, I was able to find some. First off, Hollow Truthers claim that commercial flights avoid flying over the poles so that people don't see the sim holes. Some evidence of this is that there's no commercial flights that would fly from the bottom of South America to Australia or something, even though it would be shorter to go to Antarctica. There's also this photo released by NASA in 2016 that some people point to as proof of a sim hole being in the North Pole. Now, of course, you have other images of the Earth that does not feature that hole at the top, but those are clearly just photoshopped. And after some digging, I actually found this video of what looks to be a sim hole in the South Pole. Elon Musk himself believes in Hollow Earth. There we go. He must know something we don't know. Well, I think that's all that needs to be said about Hollow Earth, and I really hope you guys enjoyed this video because I want to do more videos like this. So if you did enjoy it, please give it a like. Give my channel, subscribe, you know, follow me on social media even. Videos, I'm gonna kind of move away from the tier lists and icebergs as much in 2022. Like, I'm still gonna do them on occasion, but you know, as you guys have seen, I've been like phasing that out and doing different types of content. But I think videos like this are a perfect mix for me because it's like I can be funny, I can also talk about interesting stuff, and you guys can maybe learn something. So I think that'll be fun. And yeah, man, I think that's all I have to say. Thank you guys for watching as always. Let me know in the comments what you guys think. I always like reading the comments. Thank you guys.
Search stuff like Flat Earth or Hollow Earth, you have to read this book. Let me read the first page of the book, which is very telling.